The views and opinions expressed on Real Talk with Horace Sheffield are not those of WADL TV 38 or Adele Broadcasting Corporation.
Giving you real talk, real talk, real talk. Take a walk down this path through Detroit, This is real talk, real talk, real talk. Real issues straight from the heart, Giving you real talk, real talk, real talk. Take a walk down this path through Detroit, This is real talk.
All right, y'all, we're live in living color. Make some noise here in the corner of Grand River, Wyoming.
Yeah.
We are blessed with the auspicious presence of our Lieutenant Governor Carlin Gilchrist, whose family is no stranger to this space. Of course, Nelson Jack Edwards, the first black president of the UAW. He and my dad were very close, but we're proud and privileged to be able to say that this young man is representing us in an outstanding way. Let's make some noise and welcome our guest, Lieutenant Governor Carlin Gilchrist. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Rev. It's always good to be here with you back here at Davo. It's just a real blessing and privilege for me.
And we want to remind people, by the way, that we have grits, biscuits, and salmon croquettes. You can't beat the breakfast. I even feed my enemies. You come by and loathe me while you load your mouth. Don't matter to me, because I bless those that curse me. I've learned that's the best way to be anyway. If you get under me, you get next to me, and then I'll be under you. Anyway, let's talk about a few things. I want to start with, we have the Disparity Task Force here. You guys did a tremendous job of really, I would say, proving what we've already known, that there's great disparities in health care for people of color and poor folks. Where are we going with that information that you have presented to the public?
So thank you. So yes, we, the Michigan Coronavirus Task Force on Racial Disparities. So the state of Michigan was the only state, the first state that unapologetically and full-throatedly said that we were not going to accept the fact that in the beginning of the pandemic, COVID-19 was killing black folks at a rate of 5 times that it was killing white folks. That the case rate for Latinos in the state of Michigan was 38%, which is an over-index to their representation in the population. And so Governor Gretchen Whitmer created the Racial Disparities Task Force and asked me to chair it. We put together 26 of the brightest minds in the state of Michigan. We had hospital leaders, health insurance, community organizers, parents, faith leaders, labor leaders came together. And over the course of the next 6 months after April, when that was formed, we actually flattened the mortality rate disparity in COVID-19. And we produced 2 reports, one talking about the work that we did, and a second report, which we released here at a press event at Davo, talking about how we need to move forward from a policy perspective to deal with the social determinants of health that contributed to people of color being more vulnerable to poor outcomes from COVID-19, and a broad other array of conditions, whether that's diabetes or high blood pressure or any other sorts of challenges. And so that work is ongoing. We've made policy recommendations to the Michigan legislature. We have programming that is going forward in the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and we're also continuing to work and partner with community organizations across the state.
Yeah, 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600. If you'd like to ask the Lieutenant Governor a question. I just want to recognize Roland, who just walked in, who was putting together the commemoration for Vincent Chin, something my father was very involved in. I'll be speaking. There's a taping here Thursday with Richard Liu from MSNBC, so we've got to remember that. But let me follow up on one point about the disparities, and I think it's important for people to know it doesn't matter if you have money or health care, right? Because my sister died from urinary tract infection, and she was rich. She was educated, but she didn't get the care she should have received.
The truth is, we've seen disparities across a number of levels. We've seen disparities when it comes to race and ethnicity. We've seen disparities when it's come to income level or level of wealth. And the truth is, we need to eradicate all of them. These should not be determining factors in your health outcomes. And so the state of Michigan, we have funded programming to support that. Everything from research and treatment on things like sickle cell disease, which are almost completely specific to the black community. We of work to make sure that kids who have been receiving treatment for sickle cell don't age out of that treatment when they become 18. We just did that in the budget that we passed last year, all the way up to and including making sure that people have access to healthcare navigators, very similar to the ones that are working out of the health clinic here, and making sure that when they are coming in for a connection to care on one matter, they can connect it to care on all matters, whether it's a COVID-19 test, again, managing your blood pressure, help with your diet, just making sure that people can be healthy.
Sure. Ed?
We just have to let our audience know that not being able to seek out help is not an option nowadays. We have many options that you have. Don't let it be, I don't have the money, I don't have a way to get there, because these services will be provided for you.
Well, the truth is we need to make sure that we're bringing services to people. So some of the lessons that we learned during the pandemic, the state of Michigan invented the notion of using a mobile vehicle to deliver COVID-19 testing and COVID-19 vaccines. One of the first mobile vehicles deployed in the country was deployed in this parking lot, for example. And so what we learned is that if we take services to people, we can remove those barriers to accessibility. So that's why we ended up parking those mobile vans in parks and church parking lots, going to people's homes, that door-to-door programs, get people what they need, and again, getting access to one service, then we created a connection to care to other services.
So you mentioned hypertension, and as you know, you've been involved with our project here. Tom Frieden, former director of the CDC, is partnering with David to resolve and save lives. Did not know before I got into this that nearly 50% of Detroiters have hypertension. 62% of those, Lieutenant Governor, their blood pressure is out of control. We tested this week over 100 people in this center, and almost 79% of them, a good friend of mine, Pastor Giles, right up the street, who takes medication, his blood pressure was high. So our project is unique because you get a Bluetooth pressure kit, and we monitor it daily. We titrate your medication. We add other kinds of supplemental things like diet, exercise, etc. But it is a big issue.
Well, I mean, the truth is we have to deal with our community and collective health. We have to attack it on two fronts. Yes, there are things that we can do to connect people to individual care to make sure that they have the tools and tactics they need to be healthy, but we also need to deal with this on a policy and a population level. And so that's my job as Lieutenant Governor, to make sure that we are dealing with the environmental factors that may lead to people having higher blood pressure or poorer health outcomes, making sure that we're dealing with issues with the built environment, making sure that our air is clean and safe that we're breathing, making sure that the water is clean and safe that we're drinking. All these things are contributing factors to poor health outcomes. And so when you're looking at the things that we're doing, when I'm talking about the state budget, when I'm talking about infrastructure, when I'm talking about the policies we are putting into place, it's all about making sure people have a chance to be healthy and successful.
And we just want to let you know, I mean, the official announcement will come out, but on June 24th at 4 p.m. here at the Sheffield Center, Mike Epps, who has been one of our spokespersons for our Blood Pressure Matters campaign. In fact, his commercials are running on radio and TV right now with me aside him. We'll be here. We're going to be signing up people to have their blood pressure checked. And then, of course, we leave here and go to Occupy the Corner, which we're doing for my daughter. If we want to let the audience know who's here, if you have a question for the Lieutenant Governor, please come. I'm going to just divert a little bit. Are you familiar with the Vincent Chin case?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you know, my dad formed the Detroit Interethnic Coalition as a result of that, and his whole take was that if that could happen to him, that we need to mobilize people of all extractions to make certain that that kind of prejudice and violence doesn't happen to anyone. And I'd only bring it up in the context of the state of Michigan in which we live. We see such a conservative trend, such vitriol, commercial with a person running for governor with a zombie associating them as a Democrat. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, how do you sit up in Lansing and reconcile all this?
I mean, the truth is, you know, what we see in politics broadly and in Michigan specifically, we have seen some very disturbing things, some dangerous things, some rhetoric that is terrible, and not even just rhetoric, like out and out violence has happened. You know, when, you know, I think folks may have seen the January 6th Commission opening hearings where they showed, you know, really what was akin to war videos about what happened in January 6th. Well, I know what that felt like. On April 30th of 2020, they came into the chamber that I preside over, the Michigan Senate, long guns pointed at me while I'm trying to do my job to serve the people of Michigan. So you contrast that with the kind of leadership that Governor Gretchen Whitmer and I are trying to put forward here. And this is really about being, again, calm and resolved, being forthright, and not being scared to call out wrong and injustice when we see it, being willing to take action against it and to speak out against things that are wrong. And so I think when you put that up against crazy, we have a good chance to see the kind of leadership.
Well, speaking of crazy, and this is not anything that the Lieutenant Governor ordains or sanctions, but I got a great T-shirt here that says they're crazy and kooky, mysterious and spooky. Keeping people from voting like me is the Michigan GOP. Come by and get those free T-shirts. We're giving them away. I just think that, and I'll say this because I grew up in the civil rights movement down the street at TULC. You know what that was about. My dad disappeared in the South with Aaron Henry and others, Charles Evers, etc. The Klan chasing them. Sometimes I feel the only difference between Mississippi and Michigan is that they're spelled different.
I mean, it's more hot in Mississippi.
I hear you. Yeah, we're making it hot here. So 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600. Ed, you got a question for our Lieutenant Governor? Let's give the Lieutenant Governor a big hand. We're glad he's here in the Sheffield Center. We do have a question, and go right ahead.
My name is Linda McGatney, longtime resident.
Speak up some more. Yeah.
Linda McGatney, longtime resident of Detroit, Michigan.
And frequent guest here.
By way of Alabama.
Yeah.
Couple quick questions. Do we have anything in the state that would help students who are knee-deep in debt and student loans? And also, some of us have rental property. We applied for Sierra funds, and because we sold the property almost 20 months after the tenants did not pay, even though they had been approved, we still cannot get those funds. So what can be done for us as residents?
All right, so let me talk about student loan debt first, and I'll come to the rental assistance funding. So we know that there are, unfortunately, generations of people who are saddled with student loan debt. That's visited my own household. This is real. And it is, I think we're dealing with, frankly, right now, the myth that some people say that like student loan debt was good debt. People used to say that. I think people are recognizing that debt is not good. And so there are programs and plans in the works at the federal level to forgive student loan debt, which is what most of the student loan debt that's held in the country is. And at the state level, we've looked at some targeted programs specifically that are focused on the places where we know we need people to work in particular industries. So, for example, we have put in our state budget a significant investment in increasing our mental and behavioral health support infrastructure in the state of Michigan. And in order to get the workforce to staff that in our schools and in our communities, we have proposed changing the student loan reimbursement program for people who enter into those fields. Similarly for education, similarly for other public health workers. And so we have some targeted programs at the state level, but also the scale of relief that we need is going to come from the federal government. Now, your question about rental assistance, there have been many rental assistance programs that were provided by the federal government during the pandemic. The state supplemented those programs to keep people in their homes while they were renting, and also to assist those who were renting out property to others so they could continue to be housed. And while Michigan is one of the leading states in terms of distributing those funds, we recognize there's still work to do. So I'd be happy to make sure that our team can follow up with you to understand what happened in your particular case. And we want to make sure that everybody's made whole and kept housed as we come forward through the COVID-19.
We're getting ready to go on a break.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri, encouraging all taxpayers to please take advantage of the several payment options available.
You can pay online by visiting the Wayne County Treasurer's Office website. Paying online is easy and convenient.
You can also download the mobile app and pay with your smartphone.
You can pay at one of 70 kiosks located throughout Wayne County.
And yes, you can always still send in your payments using the U.S. Postal Service.
If you have to visit our office in person, you must make an appointment by going to treasurer.waynecounty.com. It only takes a few minutes.
Hi, I'm Reverend Sheffield, and
I'm comedian Mike Epps.
And we're here on behalf of the Detroit Association of Black Organizations and our Hypertension Project, and we're so glad that Mike Epps is going to help us help you.
That's right. High blood pressure is getting out of control in the city of Detroit, and we're here so we can help all our people in the community. But hypertension and the problem with high blood pressure is not a joke.
And almost 49% of Detroiters have some form of hypertension. We're here to help control that. Go to yourbloodpressurematters.com or call 313-491-0003. and it does make a difference.
The word trail is odd. It means following behind. But when you get on a trail, you're moving ahead. Ahead of your worries, ahead of life's dramas, ahead of noise and fuss and distraction. Good trails show you the way. The best trails show you our way. Your Huron-Clinton Metro Parks, where we've got 250 miles of trails just waiting to be discovered. They're your Metro Parks. Come out and see what you find.
All right, we'll talk about some important things here, and I know one of the issues that was part of the success of your ticket was fix the damn roads. And I know there's a host of projects right now that are geared to that. If you go anywhere, even in Southeast Michigan, there's construction everywhere. Can you address that?
Yeah, absolutely. So this has been something that's been, as you know, important from the campaign, but really important because, you know, the roads have been so bad for 40 years because they haven't been invested in. They've been dangerous. You know, people not only messing up their cars, but accidents that are getting people hurt or potentially killed. So that's why the governor and I prioritized that. And, you know, we put out a plan to be able to actually pay to fix the roads on an ongoing basis in the beginning of our administration that the Republican legislature rejected. But because the Republicans were intransigent, that didn't mean that we were going to stop. So we actually put forward a program called Rebuilding Michigan that got to work in this fixing freeways all over the state of Michigan. And you're right. I'm not going to apologize for a single orange barrel that you see. Yeah. It's true, we're going to have to leave a little earlier. We're going to have to plan a little differently. But there's a lot of construction happening in the state of Michigan. And I'll be honest, though, I recognize that's tough, right? Because people construction on road projects can produce inconvenience. And that can lead to annoyance. And that can lead to frustration. I recognize that. At the same time, the road that comes on the back end of it is safe and it'll last us for the next 60 years. So we're making the right investments to fix roads in the right way. The bridges that were dangerous and that needed repair, we're investing them in a big way. And we frankly, just this coming year, we're going to invest another $6.7 billion with a B in road, bridge, waterway, infrastructure, internet projects to be able to position our communities for safety when we travel.
All right, so I have a follow-up on that, and then here to come. So my grandfather's brother, Ernest Sheffield, had a business on Hastings. And as a kid, I would go there. It was a novelty shop. So he had all these, things that swirled around and all of that. Of course, his business was removed because of High 375. And we know a lot of black businesses were ill impacted by that. And there's been a lot of conversation about repositioning. And in that process, I know there's been recognition of what happened in the process, but can you bring us up to date on that portion of 75?
Yeah, absolutely. You're talking about the resurfacing of 375 and raising 375 up. Now, look, that's the neighborhood in Detroit that I'm from. So that's something that means something very deep and very personal to me. And what we want to accomplish, and we have advocated to the federal government directly for the support of this project. The Transportation Secretary, Pete Buttigieg, was here in Michigan during the Mackinac Policy Conference. I sat with him personally to talk about the importance of this project. And the Biden-Harris administration has said that they are committed in the infrastructure investments they're making to making right some of the past wrongs that happened, like the destruction of the Black Bottom neighborhood in Paradise Valley. So we have advocated that this is an important project. It needs to be a community project so that as we are able to fill in this freeway, we are able to have deep, direct, and real community input about what this raised neighborhood will look like and how it can harken back to that history of prosperity and abundance in that beautiful black community, and how it can move forward in a way that inspires others to become entrepreneurs, to be civic participants in a real way. So that's something we continue to advocate for. We are optimistic that we will be able to get support on that from the federal government, and you have leaders at every level of Michigan advocating for it, city level, state level, our members of Congress, because we want to see it happen.
Ed? So I do have a question about that, and it's really near and dear to my heart. And is any type of affordable housing going to be available in that area? Because most of downtown, the prices are out of sight.
Yeah, so on affordable housing specifically, this is something that is directly important to me. So for those who may not know, so I've done 2 tours around the state of Michigan called Thriving Cities, both of which kicked off in Detroit. And one of the anchors of the conversations I had about improving quality of life in cities was about increasing access to affordable housing. in 2019 and 2021, I had those conversations in the city of Detroit. And just this year, in March, the state of Michigan passed, we did something called Building Michigan Together, $100 million from the state to invest directly and specifically in affordable housing and making sure that when we are doing new development, we're doing so in a way that everybody has access to. Because just because it's a nice neighborhood don't mean you shouldn't be able to afford to live in it. And so I think that that's what the vision that we want to make happen when it comes over to what happens at 375 and frankly what happens in communities across this whole region of the state and across the whole state of Michigan.
313-778-7600. We got a caller, Michelle. Welcome to the show. You're on the line with Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist.
Oh, thank you, Reverend Sheffield. And how are you doing, Lieutenant Governor?
Pleasure to speak with you this morning.
Good. We spoke before, but I wanted to, and that's very horrific when I was hearing about that. I knew the guys came in with the guns, but to point them at you, we need a hearing on that, just like January the 6th. So, we're praying for you and the governor because you've been warriors in this and, through the pandemic and everything. I have a question and a concern. One of the things I'm concerned about, and I'm in one of the social justice groups in Detroit, we're concerned about the emergency manager law that still exists over Detroit. And one of the reasons we're concerned is because Detroit, some of the, whether it's the Duggan administration or the Great Lakes Water Authority, they have like a takeover spirit. And I think it also lines up with, because of the emergency manager now, we're working on nationally to dismantle this law. I was in New York City. I'm not going to say what group I belong to. And we're going to work on dismantling what Governor Snyder put in place. That's my concern. The governor, as I tried to mention Senator Santana's bill, but it's changed now. I know she got another bill on the record. That's one concern. And I wanted you to comment on another thing we're concerned about. Me being an advanced practice nurse, the marijuana dispensaries that's in the city of Detroit, and I've been to a lot of the city council meetings, they're really destroying our young people. Now, I mentioned young people going into nursing as going into
Michelle,
medicine.
I'm sorry. I only have about 5 minutes left, and I got 3 callers.
Okay, so I want him to comment.
I think you've given him enough questions that he can answer a few of them.
Right. Yeah. Let me go quick with that, Michelle. Thank you for calling in. So. The first question on emergency management. The path to ending the emergency management law in the state of Michigan is to re-elect me and Gretchen Whitmer and to get Democratic majorities in the Michigan legislature. Michigan Democrats have prioritized being against that law since its inception. Governor Gretchen Whitmer was led the protest against that in the Michigan Capitol when that law was put into effect fly-by-night after the election. And so we completely stand against that and want to see that repealed. Absolutely.
So here's the important thing, and it gets lost in the sauce. All this stuff that people are concerned about can be changed if you vote the right folks in public office. The voters of Michigan eliminated that, and the legislators who were Republican came back and said, we don't care about what everyday voters did. Kenny, welcome to the show. Kenny, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Yes, good morning. Good morning to everyone. I have a problem. I'm at the city council every week, every Tuesday, and they know me real by heart, by coming down there all the time, raising his hand. You're right. If we vote the right people in office, that's one of the problems that we have. We don't have the right people because I'm over here at this Chrysler plant. I've been raising hell about this tank. And people know it's been on the news and everything. And we still smelling paint. And we can't get no one to fight over here. They keep spinning us saying, we doing this, we doing that. But the paint is steady coming out, and they put it in the black neighborhood.
Okay, Kenny, let's ask a couple quick questions. And Lieutenant Governor has his staff here. We want to have her record the information. Where specifically is this a problem at?
Over here off of Warren, St. Jean, we smelling this film.
Okay.
They done failed 4 tests over here with, I think, the EPA and all of them that came out here. And it's still the same thing.
All right, Kenny, we got you. And I hate to cut you off, but we have a limited time frame. We have 3 minutes left. I'll suffice to say on behalf of Lieutenant Governor, they've got the information, and I'm sure he'll look into that. My estimation of the Lieutenant Governor is the nickname Wedge. I'm nicknaming you the Wedge. The wedge between passing the buck and red tape. The wedge between passing the buck. You use this in red tape. I've never had a single issue that I brought to his attention that he did not fully take care of or stay on top of until it resolved. A couple quick things before we go. I don't know if you saw the mural when you came in. That is a mural that the state of Michigan was involved in. It deals with opioid and things like that. Now, the building you see here with all those photos and Dr. King and my dad, we're about to redo that one. And the artist is going to do his best to render some of those photographs on the wall. But what we like to do is put you up there, and I'm going to put you near Nelson Jack Edwards. Because I think people need to understand that you're sitting here because of the Detroit Council for Political Education that was an outgrowth of TULC that says the best way for us to resolve our grievances and have power is for us to elect the right folks. And it began with Jerry Kavanaugh, one liberal mayor and 5 liberal councils, called 5+1. So we're honored to be able to tell you that we're going to put you up on our wall.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, look, I stand on the shoulders of giants. I consider you to be one of those leaders in the community, and so I'm just very humbled to be able to serve both serve you as a constituent of mine, but serve alongside you, our community.
All right, so we have 1 minute left, so we've been non-political the whole time. I'm endorsing, of course, Gretchen Whitmer and Lieutenant Governor Carlin Gilchrist, and tell us why we should reelect you guys.
It's time to continue to move Michigan forward. You know, we have made progress, we have saved lives, we have positioned people for success. We have invested more in education, public education, the key to the future of our people, more than any administration in the history of the state of Michigan. We are connecting more people to the internet and healthcare. We are fixing roads and fixing broken systems, and we're going to continue to do that for the next 4 years. We will always prioritize the people, the lives, and the success of the people and communities of the state of Michigan, and we'll do that every single day. I'm going to work as hard as I can, stand on the shoulders of those giants, to look out far into the future with you and bring us all there together.
All right, vote early, vote once, don't vote twice. There's no voter fraud in Michigan. I don't care what they say. And let's get our governor and our lieutenant governor reelected. And I know he's, with her, but I see one day him doing this himself or something even greater.
Hi, I'm Reverend Sheffield, and
I'm comedian Mike Epps.
And we're here on behalf of the Detroit Association of Black Organizations and our Hypertension Project, and we're so glad that Mike Epps is going to help us help you.
That's right. High blood pressure is getting out of control in the city of Detroit, and we're here so we can help all our people in the community. But hypertension and the problem with high blood pressure is not a joke.
And almost 49% of Detroiters have some form of hypertension. We're here to help control that. Go to yourbloodpressurematters.com or call 313-491-0003, and it does make a difference.
The word trail is odd. It means following behind. But when you get on a trail, you're moving ahead. Ahead of your worries, ahead of life's dramas, ahead of noise and fuss and distraction. Good trails show you the way. The best trails show you our way. Your Huron-Clinton Metro Parks, where we've got 250 miles of trails just waiting to be discovered. They're your Metro Parks. Come out and see what you find.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabree, encouraging all taxpayers to please take advantage of the several payment options available.
Detroit, this is real talk, real issues straight from the heart, giving you real talk, Take a walk down this path through Detroit, this is real talk.